I don't often review poetry. I think I should probably review poetry more often because increasingly I am loving it, and increasingly South Africa is showing that it has a deep poetic well. And Stephen Symons has a new volume out. It's called The Algebra of Insignificance. And Stephen is a wonderful poet. He's got three volumes of poetry before, and then a sort of collected volume. So this is the fifth. And he writes a lot about manhood, about being male, about toxic masculinity, about being a man in a war environment, about war environments, about war, about the brutality of war, about the pathos of war. He writes a lot about that. He writes about relationships, and he writes about small things. And let me, just as an example, one of the things that he does is he presents poetic writing in prose form. So if you page through the volume, there are poems that look like poems, like you expect poems to look. And then there are poems which look like a paragraph of two or prose, but then you read them and you understand the deep poetic sensibility which has gone into these lines. Let me read you Schoolboy Rugby Match 1980. Back then, Saturday mornings were holy half-days in the Republic. Morning worship on mizzled grass ruled in lime. Boys scrummaged into men under a slate sky, sinews strung by a cold that skinned the fingertips of myths. Me sprinting down the blind side past the upturned collars and proud umbrellas of fathers redreaming their playing days to friends. Further back, huddles of mothers prayed and smoked. Always one father, screaming himself blue into the crash of another tackle as I was rag-dolled over the touchline, buried under a crumple of grunts, thighs, scapulas, and limbs cast in concrete. I remember scanning the sidelines for your tan lace-ups, imagining their dew-stained leather covered in shards of cut grass and muddied sputum of the field. Me seeking out the familiar bulge of your hands like two precious clods of earth stuffed in the pockets of your jacket. Me standing there dazed, wrestling up shorts that had swallowed its drawstring, waiting for the shrill of the whistle and another line-out. Everyone shouting for the ball as if their lives depended on it, as I rested on my haunches, reciting benedictions, hopeless prayers in your absence. So it's really powerful stuff, and the poems reward constant rereading around the wide range of topics that they address. It's called The Algebra of Insignificance by Stephen Symons, Symons, and it is published by the increasingly impressive independent Karavan Press.